Hello, my name is Loosemore and you join me for a top games list. Now last time I took you through on a little ramble through the idea of solo games and said that I would do a little short list of my top solo experiences, the games that I enjoy playing on my own. Not all of these, in fact, looking at the list, only one of these really is a solo game only. There's a couple that are ideal with one that I wouldn't really want to play them with more than that, and then there's a couple that I just thoroughly enjoy the solo mode, and so those are the things I'm going to sit down and play. I'm going to do a top 5 today. I had a list of about 30 games, cut it down to about 10. Decided just to do the top 5, keep it nice and brisk for you, and because I'll try and explain, referencing what I talked about last time, why these are the games that I would go to. And actually I have to admit that one of them I don't own anymore because it wasn't getting played as a multiplayer game as much, although I'm even considering getting it again just as a solo experience, but I'll come to that in a minute. The number 5 is a game called Spirits of the Forest. If you're watching this as the video is coming out, they just had a Kickstarter for an expansion. It's a beautiful little game. I think it's a re-implementation of games that have come before from designer Michael Schott, I believe. I could be wrong. I'll put it on the screen. And it's just a little tile game. And in competitive, there's the full grid of all the tiles you can see, and it's a set collection game. So you're just taking from the edges, trying to build up. Whoever's got the most in each color scores that many points. And there's a few different sets, 8 or so, that people are working towards, and they have a little secret mission, the secrets that you can pick up along the way to make those score better. That's a nice, fun little filler game. But then the solo game, just as one of the games I'll talk about in a minute, solves my AI problem. Now, just beating your score doesn't particularly appeal to me. Running an AI doesn't particularly appeal to me. But what Spirits of the Forest does in its solo mode is it forces my actions to result in my opponent's action. And so within this grid of tiles that's set up, if I take the top row, the right-hand side one, my opponent therefore gets the left-hand one. And so I not only have to consider what I'm building, but what I choose directly determines what my opponent gets. And we can only see the end tiles. Normally in the multiplayer game you can see all tiles all the time. In the solo game it's just the end ones that you can see, and so you can't math it out before you start. You can't puzzle it through and go, I know the perfect moves, because you don't have all the information. And then there's a couple of secret tiles that they already have to say they're going to score more on these particular types, and if you lose in a single category, you lose the whole game. It's not about scoring more overall. It's not a beat your score. There's a clear win condition. You have to, it's more really a lose condition. If you don't get the majority in every single set, you lose. And that is just a fun little, again, only 5-10 minutes, easy setup. You shuffle them, shove them together so they're nice and neat, and you're good to go. Just a fun little mental exercise that fits one of those niches I like. It's a time passer. It's lovely. Then my number 4 is kind of the direct other extreme of that. This is, again, actually I don't own 2 of these, I've just realized. I've sold a couple of these in recent times. My number 4 is Lord of the Rings, the living card game. And I love the Lord of the Rings world, read the books as a kid, grew up just in time to be the right ages for the movies as they came out. I don't think I've watched the theatrical release since watching it in the theatres. I only watch the extendeds because you get the full tale. But I love the Lord of the Rings world. I like playing games that involve it. I like reading things that involve it. I like listening to audiobooks when I feel like just relaxing and not necessarily doing the reading and discovery myself, but just hearing something I'm very familiar with. I love the world. And the card game allows me to explore some of that world a bit more. I tried Journeys of Middle-earth, a much more recent Lord of the Rings game. I wasn't that fussed. It felt too demanding and loose all at the same time. Maybe if I'd played it multiplayer, I'd have had a different experience. But as a solo thing, as a learning experience, it was a bit, I didn't feel immersed in it, despite the fact that it has an app immersing me in it. The card game, yes, there was, and there is if you pick it up, a bit of a learning curve. There's a bit of terminology and mechanisms that are abstract and are by nature that way because it's a card game. But once you get past that and you get over that and you start exploring, even the base box comes with 3 different missions, and so you can play them over and over in different ways. It's how difficult. And then there's loads and loads and loads of content, loads of cycles. They call them basically different chapters of a story. And once that story is complete, they start a new story that has different chapters, and you can buy the different chapters. And it's not a collectible game in the sense of booster packs where you don't know what you'll get. Maybe you'll get the good thing. You know, with every pack, this is what everybody gets. Okay, cool. So it's just mini expansions as I go along if I want to play more. I didn't have masses. I had the first full cycle, about 6 extra missions, and then 1 extra box that the person I got it from had already bought. So I had so much content even for me. Loads of people have played through all of it. I never get that far. I sadly wasn't playing it much. It's a great game. It used to be in my top 10 of all time. It kind of fell out because I wasn't playing it much. And as I say, that doesn't mean it's not a great solo experience, doesn't mean it's not a great game. I was just probably buying too many games too quickly, and again, it might be one that I'd want to revisit another time, which then leads me on to my number 3, which is the one that I remembered at the beginning I don't own anymore. And again, this is one I would hope to get back in again. This is Sagrada. This is a great abstract little game. It kind of came out at an unfortunate time, similar-ish time to Azul, which was this hugely popular game for gamers and non-gamers. And Sagrada is a similar-ish pattern-building game, but with dice, translucent dice of different colours, and it's great. I enjoyed it as a multiplayer game. It's a snake draft. So somebody rolls the set number of dice from however many, and you take it in turns, picking which dice to fill your grid to get different points. But like Spirits of the Forest, this has that same win and scoring methodology of whatever I, in this case, don't choose, my opponent automatically gets. So I take the dice that I want out of the pool, which leaves some of them behind, or will leave a die, I believe. I don't exactly remember. It's been maybe even a year since I've had this. I just love the idea of it still. And my opponent automatically gets that one I didn't use. And so as the rounds go on, I'm actually building their score with the dice I don't use, because for me, the face value only matters for where it can go in my little grid, but for them it adds to their scores and you build it up. And so actually it adds a level of thinking as to what I'm taking, not what am I leaving you to make a mistake with and put it in the wrong place, but I'm directly building my opponent's score, or the score that I need to beat. And that again, it's slightly longer than Spirits of the Forest. It's probably a 15-20 minute game, so that it gives me more satisfaction without much more setup, without much more overhead in terms of learning the rules or anything. It's a simple enough game, but it solves the AI versus beat your score thing that I don't particularly like, where I just, within the drafting, it automatically builds my opponent's score, so it's my fault doubly if I lose, which I think is a clever way to do it. And then back to the narrative side of things, another game that's been firmly in my top 10 for a long time. This is The Seventh Continent. I do enjoy this as a multiplayer game. I enjoy it as a 2-player game. But I love the freedom which suits this game perfectly, of just being able to pull it out whenever I like and just go exploring in this world. I recently cut down from the big Kickstarter boxes that came a year or so ago to, they finally produced a retail version. It doesn't have all the stuff, so I kept some of the expansion material. So I've got, again, loads of content to work through. Because it has a save mechanism where you can just pack things away in a certain order in the box so you can pull it all out again, and it's not a complicated one. That sounds like a faff. It's the tiniest of faffs, but it's good that I can just pull it out. Like I mentioned in the previous video, it's like pulling out a book, sticking on an episode of TV, just immerse myself in this world for a little while at my own leisure. If I make mistakes, it's my mistakes to make. Like playing, I don't know, an hour or so on a video game or something. I just get to explore in this world and then pack it away. And if I died, that sucks. I get to try one of the other curses or start again or whatever it might be. And I've got enough curses that I don't just keep restarting the same one. I'll jump into a different story for a bit. And then if I lose that one, I maybe try it again. Or if I don't feel like starting it again right now, by the time I've gone through all the other curses and come back to it, it will feel fresh again because it's different every time and there's stuff to explore all over the place. So that's just a lovely escapism place of just immersing myself into a narrative at my own leisure and getting as involved with it as I like. It doesn't strictly have the win condition thing that I normally look for. It does in the grand sense, because you could play for 10, 15 hours and then achieve the thing you set out to do because it's that big narrative. But each session doesn't, so you kind of time it as you like. I've had enough now, I put it away, which again works for me. I get to have as much of an experience as I like. And then number 1 actually is the only game on this list that is a purely solo game. I think Lord of the Rings and Seventh Continent are best at one. But McKee is a solo game from Side Room Games. Probably got that wrong again. I've put all these names and things on the screen so you get to see Side Door. Sorry. Now this is a solo worker placement game. Didn't know if I'd like that. Worker placement is about the tension of getting to spots before other people to be able to do the things that you want to do. And McKee has an AI system, which kind of goes against everything that I've been saying. But again, it falls into that 20-minute-ish category where I get to have kind of the full experience of a worker placement game, because the AI is literally flip a card, place where they tell you. And then because thematically you are the French resistance during World War II, you are trying to build a route where you can get back to. It matters where their people will appear, and so that revealing of the card isn't just, okay, now I follow the instructions. It's, oh no, have they caught me? Oh, okay, cool, I'm safe. Or, oh, that's really obstructed my plans. And so it creates, it's not mechanical, it's not purely mechanical in whether you succeed or not. It is down to that slight chance element. You can learn the cards and so better predict their movements, again slightly thematic, and the game comes with loads of different missions, so it'll be slightly different each time, and the order those cards come out and how you will go about it will be different each time. And you can sit down and do this as a couple of people making this decisions. We gave it a go. It kind of works. But as a pure solo game, I've got 20 minutes, maybe half an hour for all set up and packed down and everything in between. It is brilliant. The art style is one I didn't know that I would like, didn't know that it would be something I'd be interested in, but there's just something about it that really captivates me. The board is small, it's simple, it's a lovely little package. McKee, I believe it's becoming more widely available now. It was just a little Kickstarter, but I think it's more available now. So that's kind of my list. Quick honorable mention to, I'm going to get this name wrong now, I want to say Under Falling Skies, I might be wrong, but a little print and play that was out last year that is being picked up and being produced by CGE in the next couple of months. That may end up being on this list. Again, a solo specific game about alien invasion and dice placement and things. I've had a lot of fun with the print and play, but we'll see what the final product is like. But there's some solo games. Do you play solo games? What games do you like to play? Stick them down in the comments. I'd love to hear some of your ideas. I hope you've enjoyed watching. If you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, do subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you stay updated when we put out new stuff. Do follow us on social media. Just search Win Some Loosemore on the usual platforms and you'll find us. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you again next time. I've been Dieter for Win Some Loosemore. Goodbye.